Your generation, young people, especially in this last election, have always lagged behind in terms of turnout. Do you think that could change this year?
Yeah, I do, and I really hope so. Like it's been a growing initiative by our generation to educate ourselves, but also educate each other. And I think the more that we look to uplift those around us, and bring them on board to a cause that's obviously really important, I think we'll be able to make some real change. So ever since I've been a kid, it's always been like kind of instilled in me from my father just how important it is and how valuable actually having a vote is. He was born and raised in a different country where they didn't have a vote and there was a dictator, and having that experience and knowing what it can be like, and then knowing what it is like here and seeing how much greater of an opportunity you have to actually create change and be heard. It's something that we take very, very seriously in our family. And I think that's something that we should take more seriously as a country. I think a lot of people use the excuse of, well, what's one vote mean in the grand scheme of things? But when you give 1 million people that same mindset, now that's 1 million votes. And I mean, you don't even have to scale it up that big. There were some states in the last election where it was a couple hundred or a couple thousand votes that kind of were the deciding factor. And instead of taking this stance of, well, someone else will take care of it, I think that we need to take more pride in doing it ourselves and being the catalyst of change in our cities. Education on voting is something that isn't really done. There's across the board, most people don't really understand what they're voting for, what their vote means, the different levels of government and legislature. And for me and a lot of the guys on the team, one of the ways that we educate ourselves is by educating each other.
This is 1 week we're going to dedicate to voting, just to educate ourselves, because quite frankly, some of us don't even know the importance of voting when you never really had to vote and be an adult before.
Not everyone's learning the same things or exposed to the same information. So taking the little bit that you're exposed to and sharing it with someone else, and then the people you're around doing that same thing, with that you can actually grow a lot, expose yourself to a lot, and obviously learn a lot. People like to say it goes from the top down, but you have to take account for your local area, because people forget that the states have a lot of governing power. I think that's a huge part of educating yourself and being an active participant in your community. I mean, for me as a Black person in America, but also just as an athlete and someone with a platform, it's important to share this stance and opinion. But that's what makes it so important on an individual basis, that people show up and as human beings stand up for each other and try to make change so that we can all share the same happy experience. I take a lot of pride now in being able to say that I'm an NBA player, I'm a basketball player, because of the stance that we've taken and the change that we've made in all these social justice reforms, and then even like just the voting aspect. Hopefully, I'll be looking back on the time that we took advantage of our voice and our platform to make change. And hopefully, when I'm looking back on this time, it will be from a place of actually experiencing and reaping the fruits of our labor.